I ran into some videos regarding GTA Online, which I had generally no interest in, like GTA 5's online. I played the game when it first released on PS3, and I played a little bit of like the remaster on PS4. I know that a lot of niggas like just loved the online, because I remember, it's funny, I remember when San Andreas came out, and there was like a deep fervor of like the type of niggas that play like 50 Cent Bulletproof or like Madden or like Def Jam Vendetta, like
love
them.
GTA Online, bro. They all got their own modded server, bro.
It's so funny because like I remember being young and like them being like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if like we all could play like together, like a split screen, like, you know, like exploring like San Andreas, like,
bro, that should be so crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
and I remember thinking to myself like, yeah, I guess, but because I was just like into different types of game, like fantasy, JRPGs, you know, sci-fi, I was like, I guess that sounds fun, maybe. But here we are, right, with GTA Online making $1 billion, and I'm realizing how much it's changed for the people that were there day one. And it was just like a video of talking about griefers and how free mode has changed, and like how Rockstar intentionally creates problems for the player to have to pay to solve the problem. An example is that they released this flying bike, motorbike, with a rocket launcher. And it has all these specific mechanics that sort of break the game. Like it's fast enough that you don't need to you can just fly over all the buildings. It's faster than any of like the jets. It has more maneuverability. It has rockets that hone in, so it makes a lot of missions easier. So everybody in the meta was buying it because it was essentially a cheat code to like run through your missions super fast, and also to grief other players who didn't have it because they couldn't escape those homing missiles.
You just come flying through, bombing them real quick,
and they'd be able to just escape just as quickly. So people like that would get out of the vehicle and like try and shoot them, like had no chance. So that like really changed the whole like dynamic of like people jumping in, and it like was like a status symbol. And then Rockstar included, hopefully nobody that is really into GTA Online listens to this and they're like, wrong. Yeah, no. They introduced a vehicle that was basically meant to target that specific motor, that aerial motorbike, that with the
they made the anti-bike vehicle.
Exactly. So people that had already bought into the bike and loved it, but then the people that hated the people who had the bike got to buy, you couldn't earn it apparently, you had to buy a vehicle to counteract it in free mode. And so there was like different levels to it. They made several vehicles that kind of like
then they made the anti-bike video anti-bike video vehicle.
Exactly. So basically the guy was complaining about this, like how they manufactured a problem and then are making players pay to solve the problem in game. And the whole time I'm thinking, why don't you just not play the game and play something else? The guy that was explaining the whole thing had been playing since day one. He had over 5,000 hours. He had pretty much every vehicle, every house. He was king in that game.
Right.
And he was basically complaining about this like specific monetary tactic and how it's recently gone to shit for GTA players, and like how it's just not the same like it used to be. And I'm just like, in some way,
you're
talking
problem.
about how yeah, exactly. Basically, yeah, simply put, you've also paid into the problem here, and you continue to do so. You've put in way more money than most casual players, from what I've been able to tell. And it wasn't just this guy doing this video. I watched another one where another guy was also like entrenched, like literally so bought in on the game that it's just like they get angry that things are changing. But I'm like, this game has been around for 10 plus years now.
13 years.
Like,
this shit came out when I was in 11th grade.
I'm 30.
You're right.
I'm just like, Rockstar wasn't even expecting this to stay around that long. But because you niggas are paying like the subscriptions and all this, it's like you expect them to be like on your side and to like make things.
Yeah.
You like, they had to pump up the numbers every year over year. So they're going to have tactics that like people that have been there since day one are not gonna agree with, you know.
Yeah, that's why ball and gun gamers is a slur, bro.
I don't know what that is, but
I'll go into it after your point. Yeah.
All that to say that like these niggas are like, oh, gaming is trash now. Like, you know, games are shit. There's no games out there. But I'm like, you just played 5,000 hours of just GTA Online. Like, nigga, go play something else.
Yeah, because
like it doesn't have to be an online game. Like, what the like? This is insane.
And this is where the term ball and gun gamers comes from. Is because
what is this?
Because the main parent company of Rockstar, 2K, also makes
2K, yeah.
NBA 2K. And once they get off GTA, because they're like, man, I'm tired of these niggas doing all this shit on GTA. I'm gonna go play 2K, where it's the same toxic practices. This is coming from a person that plays 2K regularly. For the past 13 years of 2K, ever since they added VC to 2K, the whole point is...
What's VC?
So VC is virtual currency, and you spend VC,
okay.
You earn VC. Like, so the whole point of the game after like 2K13 is, because they made this mode where you make your own character, and they started like a 40 overall or something like that. You use the VC, you spend that, you can upgrade attribute points, buy some little fake Jordans and some tattoo sleeves and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And then they added the park, so you can take your, because that was just a strictly single player thing of like, you know, you go through your rookie year, you just play the NBA as it normally would as your own player. They added the park, so now you can play against other players. And then of course they added the ability to buy VC. The meta of 2K now at this point is so busted that you buy $100, you buy the game for $100 because that comes with NBA League Pass. Then you spend another $60 for the $60 VC pack, so you can boost your character instantly to the level cap at the time is level 80, because you got to still play the game to like get up to level 99. So you spend $60 to get yourself straight to 80 so that you can play with other players, because if you don't, you're going to be like at 40 overall and people aren't going to like. Not to mention that you have to pay the same VC to buy shoes, to buy clothes. You can bet on VC on certain courts, so you'll lose money and you can gamble like that. And this is not even including the My Team, which is the RNG trading card version, where people can get like 99 overall, 100 boosted characters. So you can get like LeBron James and he has like 99 all stats, but you have to keep rolling loot boxes in order to open up those packs to get your LeBron James. Don't even get me started on WWE. They just added this new thing to where you have to prestige. So once again, WWE just added an island where it's the same thing. You make your own wrestler, you pay VC so you can upgrade their stats and buy all the stuff and fight other people on the island and stuff like that. But they added this new toxic system. You can only reach like 80 overall. Then you have to prestige and start over at 40, and you can pay money again to get to 85 and prestige, and pay money again to get to 90 and prestige, and then 95, then 99. So they're forcing you to pay 6 times $60 to get your overall up. The issue with 2K is now people complain every year that 2K sucks, 2K is getting worse. The game runs like shit. The online's still shit. It's the same reused shit. The game doesn't get any better. They take out features just to get the features back in. The next year, they say that they fixed the problem. They create problems, don't fix the game for a whole year, then sell you the problems for another $60 next year. And then you have to start the process again because VC and characters don't carry over. So you got to do the same thing. And it's gotten to the point where now the meta of 2K is buying a set $100 Chronos Zen online, plugging in the cheat device, and having the cheat device automatically defend and automatically shoot the greens so you can never miss a shot and always block a shot. That is the meta of 2K now. Is if you're not cheating and not spending all this money to boost your character to the max level, then you are the problem and you suck. And instead of going, I'm not going to play this game anymore because this sucks, instead people either foolishly spend money on another build, so making a whole nother character and doing the process over again in hopes that maybe this character will be better than the last character, even though I'm playing against cheaters. Or they'll become a cheater themselves too and buy the cheating device. And it's like, you could just not play the game, and then 2K will lose money and be like, oh, I can fix the fucking game because I'm scared. Like, that's what happened with NBA Live. That's why NBA Live isn't a thing. People at the time, NBA Live was still better than 2K for a time, and they released a demo for NBA Live, and it was so buggy and early in development because I think that was when they were like forcing everybody to switch to Frostbite, and they switched to Frostbite engine for it. And of course it was buggy because, you know, basketball game and Frostbite engine. They just lost all hope, and 2K won it over at that point. And haven't had a competitor since. So there's nobody to be like, we also have a competent basketball game, so I'm gonna go play NBA Live instead. No, now it's I only have 2K. Just like people only have GTA to play, allegedly.
Yeah.
According to some people.
Like I wrote, a part of it is sunk cost fallacy, where people are so entrenched and so financially and chronically invested in these games that they're not willing to see outside of the situation or leave the situation and be like, man, I already got too much time in Fortnite and I already have too many skins, so I'm just gonna live in Fortnite. And it's just like,
you don't have to, bro.
You can't. You don't have to, but I don't want to hear you complain. Like, I think that was what annoyed me about the YouTube videos. It's just like, you're complaining, but like you're part of the reason why the industry has gone this route, because you've paid for all this shit. You keep coming back, you keep accepting the bullshit, and you don't play other games. There's a reason that it's like this. It's like because of you niggas. It's like a single player fantasy game maybe comes out, you know, original idea, no one buys it, and then people get upset like, where are the games at? There's no original games. It's like, first off,
you didn't
in
buy
this day and age, not everything. Yeah, nobody bought it, but like, first off, not every company can make a AAA fucking Spider-Man game. Okay, so let's get that off the table. Let's stop pretending that
nobody has $300
can
million
make AAA games and all the time in the world to make like this highly crafted, you know. Let's stop pretending that that's the case. You have to support these other indie devs that are doing, I mean, they're not always independent devs, but you know, some of these like AA games, yeah, that are doing like different things. Like, and that video, I sent you a video which we'll probably attach here, or not attach, we'll add to the podcast, but it was someone talking about how people that only play what'd you call it, ball and gun games?
Yeah, ball and gun gamers. They say that because the biggest thing about ball and gun gamers isn't the fact that they play ball and gun games, but it's the fact that they don't go out of their wheelhouse, and then they complain and say that gaming is dying, gaming is dead, games suck.
Yeah.
And it's like, because you're stuck. It's really a derogatory term for anybody that has sunk cost fallacy in a game, where it's like, you keep complaining about this game, but you won't stop playing this game and play something else, and you're mad that they won't change the game to be another game, when there's games that do what you're asking for way better than the game that you're asking to change into this. And it's like, just play that game. Just
the YouTube videos, man, about this idea where people put so much time into something and it's just like complaining about the monetary stuff, and I'm just like, well, then don't engage with it. You've spent so much time with it, just move on. There's so many other games floundering out there that don't get the attention that they need, because so many of you are playing the same games. You know, you're playing the same 5 games: Roblox, Fortnite, 2K, COD,
Madden,
Arc Raiders.
Not Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders is new.
Okay,
but I do agree with this, especially coming from, I'm a multiplayer nigga. We've been over this. I just got finished playing Marathon like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but you're different though. I would say like you're definitely an outlier because of all the games that you've added to like your list of games that you're willing to play. You know, you've played a lot of Baccarat games. You've played a lot of single player games. I think you're probably more well-rounded than me, even though I had my share of multiplayer games like in the PS3 era that I would play. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I just make fun of you because you play them, but I think that you're like really well-rounded, I would say. Because you got MMOs, you got the multiplayer games, and then you got the single player shits that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, this goes to like every game. This is kind of why I always vent in like a Sondi Select about MMOs randomly, is because like until like 2019, I want to say, like, or 2018, until like I like moved out, I kind of was like just a multiplayer nigga. Like, I only played MMOs. I only played whatever.
Basically, when you met me, things changed.
No, because literally right before like we did Back of the Rack, that's when I first started collecting. I like moved out. I found a GameCube for cheap, and I was like, I like GameCube. I like Sonic Adventure 2 and Wind Waker. Let me cop some stuff. And like when we first started, that was when I was like first starting collecting and like actually getting into like the hobby. But before that, for the longest time, if it didn't have multiplayer or was an MMO, I didn't play that shit. And I can see the effects of that in that's why I'm so jaded with every like multiplayer game. Like Marvel Rivals, people are complaining, being like, this season is the last straw. You gotta fix and patch all this stuff or else the game's gonna die. And it's like, bro, the game's only been out for a year. Like, they've added 20 new characters in that time. The fact that they've done all this content, and every month there's new character, new content, new maps, new events. There's just so much content in that game. I took a break for 7 months after, I want to say right before Blade came out. I think Ultron. Once Ultron came out, I said, I don't want to play this no more. This shit is toxic. I'm good. I'll come back to this. And I came back when Gambit and Rogue came out because I wanted to play Gambit and Rogue, and I had a blast for 3 to 4 months. And I said, I'm good with this game.
All right.
I'll get off it. I don't need to play this
and
anymore.
Played other stuff in between.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And played other stuff in between.
It's not like that was your only game.
But with MMOs, especially, unfortunately, this is why I'm so glad that you chose this, because the landscape that we live in with live service games is because we unchecked MMOs for so long. Because all of these toxic practices of battle passes, paying to skip the content of a game and paying to skip levels, paying for early access, paying for games that aren't complete, everything that we experience now in games, and just even the fact of people being like, this game needs to last forever. World of Warcraft should be on World of Warcraft 2 by now. We should be on World of Warcraft 3 or 2. Like, we shouldn't be still playing World of Warcraft and them completely changing everything about the game and adding housing and all this stuff. World of Warcraft is not supposed to live for 20 years. Yeah. EverQuest is still, like, even though EverQuest is still dropping like new content, quote unquote, it's really just retreading the same content, but them going like they're just releasing like a new mode where it's like, okay, this is going to be the same server we're going to start the game. Like, they constantly do these classic servers where it's like, okay, this is classic, but you can have 2 classes instead of 1 class. Or this is a classic server, but if you die, that's it. You only get 1 life. Or everybody's randomized. You can't select a class or something like that. They do that, but it's the same game, but they just have a different mechanic going over it. So that's why EverQuest has lasted forever. But like every MMO verbatim has been this exact same process. You pay like $60 to $100 for early access to get into this MMO everybody's excited about. You metagame everything. You take the whimsy out. So by the time that the game even comes out, if you're not following the YouTube guides and all that stuff, nobody's talking to you. Nobody's having fun with you. Nobody's like interacting with you because you're not following the guide. They're following a guide and watching some shit on the second screen. They're rushing to end game, even though the whole point of an MMO is to be in a virtual world talking with people, conversation, using it as a social media platform. Instead, we're gonna rush to the end of the game, and if you don't rush to the end of the game, don't worry, you can just pay $60 to skip that. Skipped on 90% of the game so that we can play 10% of the game for a month straight and be like, why is there only 10% of the game? Like, why is there no end game? Why is there no point to the game? I need you to drop more of this instead of enjoying the entire breadth of the game and all of its systems and combat. And that bleeds over to them going, okay, well, I'm either going to leave this game or I'm going to continue to whale because I like this game, and they're going to keep dropping new content, new in-game stuff for you to keep spending money on. Now MMOs are a dead genre, and they did the same thing with live service games, where live service games now it's, why aren't you dropping content every month? Oh, if you don't drop content, this patch sucks. There was a funny tweet I saw where they was like, white niggas love patch notes. And it's true, because I'm telling you, as a kid, I didn't give a fuck about patch notes. I was just like, oh, an update? Yeah. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna just keep playing the game. Unless they highlight, like, this is what's new in the game, this new dungeon. I didn't give a fuck about what the patch notes said. Oh, plus 5% to your area of effect. I don't give a fuck. I'm playing the game. I think that metagaming and that super superfluous caring about all of these patch notes and all this extra shit, Steam DB numbers, is just very toxic to the whole point of, in the opposite spectrum, you see people using these Steam DB numbers, like for example, Marathon, people being like, with Arc Raiders, being like, to defend Arc Raiders, you're bashing the numbers of Marathon, being like, see, it doesn't have the numbers of Arc Raiders, so you shouldn't play this game. Oh, Marvel Rivals doesn't have the same numbers as Overwatch, so you should play this game. Instead of, oh, that game, like, usually you use Steam numbers to go, oh, okay, a lot of people play this game. That's good to know. That means the queue's not gonna be long. Yeah. They don't know when to stop playing a game, and I'm niggas.
Something that I found interesting, and you make a lot of good points from the perspective of somebody who's like who's played a lot of MMOs and has been a part of the change of the gaming industry. But one of the things that I found interesting was, especially with MMOs, because that was I watched a Blizzard sort of documentary, and it was sort of talking about how World of Warcraft blew up and how because of when it came out, in the early, when did it come out?
Like
the early
2003, 4, one of those two.
Yeah, because of how many people started to play games and PC games and all that, they weren't able to keep up with the demand. Like they were doing so well that they couldn't keep the growth going forever. So with the patches the expansions that they released, they were so well received by players and everybody loved it, and the numbers spiked so much because of those expansions. But at that point, I think 10 years had already gone by. That's a long time for a game. And between 2003 to 2013, gaming was changing, the expectations were changing on what people wanted, and also a new generation was coming in, to play games, to play PC games. So Blizzard started to shift, a lot of their tactics and mechanics that they were adding into the game towards a younger demographic. They started adding specific things. I mention that because it's interesting for a game to be running for 10 years and to think about the different types of people that are going to be coming in and out and how you cater your game towards that. And the people who have been there since year one, 10 years later, it's like, well, yeah, like what do you expect? Like this company has a game for 10 years. They're typically looking to grow their numbers.
Right.
And that means that in year 10, they're probably looking at fucking someone who just turned 10 probably, or who just turned like a specific age, a younger demographic who has a different set of expectations. Yeah, your game is going to change over the course of 10 years. Like that's a long fucking time for a game to be running, The more you buy into it, the more angry these people get, because it's just like, well, why is it changing? And it is fascinating because Blizzard then came out with WoW Classic, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very fascinating, like, just sort of look at like, well, the old heads need their own games. So like,
and it's crazy that
WoW has gotten
eras. So now it's like you got WoW Classic, then you got the Burning Crusade Classic, then Catalysm Classic, then Mr. Pandaria Classic, which I don't think is a fucking classic, but like every single expansion now has and that's the same thing that EverQuest does, where it's like they'll do a classic server and it'll progress through the expansion, so you can still relive that like growth of like content, and it has its own like content cycle, but then it will end at like certain arcs. It'll be like, okay, because I think EverQuest has like 20 expansions. I think they drop one every year still to this day. They'll be like, okay, the first 10 expansions for this server, and then after that it'll stop. That'll be the end of this server, and they just constantly re-release servers being like, this is just the first 5 or the first 6 or the first 12. Blizzard is going to be doing the same thing forever.
Yeah,
they're going to be like,
yes,
like they did with Classic Hardcore and Season of Discovery. They're just going to drop classic but this, classic but this, classic but this. And RuneScape now is doing the same thing too. They're just actually, speaking of that, next week they're dropping a league where it's going to be the same thing, where it's like, this is a league that only lasts 3 months. You got to make a new character. It's going to have these features. And then after that, it's done. And then you go on to the next league after that. It's going to be another league with a new weird mechanic. In Path of Exile, I'm sorry. This is my autistic hyperfixation. I'm sorry. But to talk about more about what you were saying with like World of Warcraft, it is very interesting because the same thing happened with Fortnite, kind of sort of, where a new game would come out with a new feature, and World of Warcraft and Fortnite would steal that feature, put it in the next expansion, so it's World of Warcraft and Fortnite 5, and then people would just stop caring about that new game because my game that I spent thousands of hours on has that new feature now. I don't need to play the new game that has that feature. Like Fortnite took respawning from Apex Legends. Fortnite takes a lot of mechanics from other games to the point now to where it even took like literal games. Like there's a Fall Guys mode in Fortnite. There's a Rocket League mode in Fortnite. They took Rock Band and put it in Fortnite. World of Warcraft, like Guild Wars 2 dropped their mount expansion, and they had it mounts, and they can do all these new cool mechanics. And then World of Warcraft was like, yeah, we revamped the mount system to where mounts have abilities now. Like,
crazy.
Yeah. What are the chances of that? I don't know.
It's these lifestyle games, and
I
mean, ultimately, what it comes down to is that we're in a new era, and I think they're having difficulty adjusting and taking accountability for their part in where we're at. Companies are greedy and they are trying to make money at the end of the day, and they have aggressive growth goals year over year. They're gonna have KPIs that they have to meet. Our player count, our membership count, or whatever, subscription count has to be higher the next year. It has to be like, no company's just like, yeah, we want to keep our normal subscription amount, player base. Like every company is trying to grow their numbers. The fact that so many people are stuck in these games and hoping that things are going to stay the same, and then complaining about it, and then complaining that there aren't any other games, and then not showing up for games that like truly matter, although Expedition 33, I think a lot of people showed up for. Maybe more people could have showed up for that. Crimson Desert, just original IP, things that are new, supporting there, and not being so upset about the game that you've lost your life to, like these lifestyle games, I think are dangerous, and I think a lot of people know that our age now, because we've seen sort of the practices. I don't know, man. Those YouTube videos had me feeling some type of way where I was just like,
you know what it is, bro? You know what broke my spell? I would used to watch those Gaming is Dead videos, and then I would see Call of Duty footage over top of it, and I'd be like, yeah, you fucking lost me. Because even as a kid, I said, wait, you want me to play Modern Warfare 2, and then you guys just drop Black Ops, then you drop Black Ops 2, then you just drop you're dropping a Call of Duty every year. Halo 3 dropped one time, and then Halo Reach dropped 2 years later, and that's it. We were good on Halo for the entire 360 generation until Halo 4 at the end of the generation. But niggas play Halo 3 to Halo Reach, and that was it. It's like you gotta think about it. Like, you play Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2 until now, and they dropped a new Call of Duty every year for 15 years straight. And now you're saying that gaming is dead because all you've played is Call of Duty, and you're like, oh yeah, because Call of Duty sucks. Gaming is dead. Because World of Warcraft sucks.
Exactly.
Gaming is dead. And it's like,
yes.
All of those games that dropped in between that are also shooting games, BioShock, fucking Far Cry. I can look at my shelf and pull up some random bullshit like I always do of a fucking game that you could have played in that time that probably has a shutdown studio because your ass was too busy playing Call of Duty again instead of paying $60 for something interesting. Same thing that went with MMOs. Like, MMOs would come out and people would be like, yeah, but this doesn't have all the content of World of Warcraft. And it's like, well, yeah, World of Warcraft's been out for 10 years. This MMO just came out. You got to give it time to get to that point. But they don't give it the time, and they go, I'm just going to go back to World of Warcraft because there was no content here. How am I supposed to grow as lose? And I think that's the issue with not only live service games, but just like gaming in general, is that it's become so tribalistic. And there was a time, and people always like to say that in those Gaming is Dead videos, where they'd be like, back in my day, I used to play Jack and Daxter and NBA Street and ATV Off-Road Fury and fucking... And it's like, yeah, because you went out of your wheelhouse to play those games. Wreckfest still is a game that came out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a platformer every 5 minutes that comes out. These genres didn't just disappear. They're still getting games. You guys just aren't paying attention to them because as an adult, and I get it, you've kind of fallen back into your niche of like, I mean, not niche, but you've fallen into, and we'll talk about this later. I was coming to that same realization of like, I don't need to ever play another open world game unless it does something truly unique or inspiring for me. Like, the next open world game I'll probably play is probably Elder Scrolls 6. And that's because I like the lore of Elder Scrolls. Not because I want to play Elder Scrolls 6, man. I don't need to play those games because I've played them. I don't need to. Every time I play an open world game, I get the same feeling at the end of it of like, I don't like this shit. There's only select few, like Dragon's Dogma 2. Open world has to do something truly marvelous in order for me to be like, I fuck with this, like Spider-Man or some shit. I think a lot of gamers have came to that same conclusion too, whether they did go out of their wells, but maybe they played Kingdom Hearts as a kid, but they never went further into JRPGs. Or they tried and they played a stupid game like Star Ocean, Dead Divine Force, something, and was like, I don't fuck with that. I'm not gonna play any more of those. I know that Call of Duty, it's like chicken tenders. I know these chicken tenders taste good. I know these chicken tenders with some 2K barbecue sauce on the side and my GTA Sprite tastes delicious. I'm not gonna go out of this wheel. This is my meal, GTA and I'm only getting Sprite, this. Give me a number 7.
Yep. But I'm gonna complain like, God, these fucking nuggets are dry, like, or they just don't make these nuggets like they used to. It's like, nigga, just get something else. Try some, develop some. I think it's also, I feel like what's happening too is like this underdevelopment of taste in games. A lot of these people that complain about a lot of these games that are coming out too, it's like, well, you have no taste anyways. You know, maybe you don't like the way the game looks or plays, but you only play these 5 main games, you know, GTA Online, Call of Duty, whatever. So who are you to be criticizing this new game that came out that isn't to your tastes? You know, it's like you have a very limited taste. You're not playing,
right,
you know, like whatever, you know, game to kind of expand your palette to even know that there's games that you might like if you just gave a chance. But it just really frustrated me, and I was thinking about it a lot because I feel like there's a lot of YouTube videos about people complaining about gaming is dead, and I'm like, no, it's just the people that are saying that are people who don't play single player games. Simply put, the people that are saying gaming is dead or that there are no games are the people that will not buy a day one single player game. So I just got tired of hearing it,
you know,
and I think that's why I've gotten tired with gaming YouTube too, because of like comments like that where I'm like, so many of these people haven't played a lot of games. And not that you need to play a lot of games, but I think you need a good amount of games under your belt from each generation to be able to like make good analysis on games, because then you just come off as like the person that just watched. Okay, let me just tell a quick story. I remember this person that I worked with a long time ago. I asked him what his favorite movie was, and at the time, the movie, I think it was like 2010. At the time, the movie that came out, it was Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. I asked him what his favorite movie was. He said Man of Steel, and that like just told me everything, because I'm like,
yeah,
there's just no way you've like seen enough movies.
The niggas that feel like my favorite movie's Avengers Endgame. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like, I love Avengers Endgame as much as everybody else, but like, come on.
That's not even
like,
top 20 for me, for real.
Like, you can't even, like, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the same type of people, you know.
Oh, I thought you were going to say,
you don't have any taste.
I thought you were going to say, my coworker said that he would watch the playthrough.
Oh no. Well, that's happened before too. I remember like I had a friend that watched when streaming and Twitch really started taking off, and it was like a lot of Let's Plays. I remember I had a friend that would just like watch one of his favorite streamers play the game, and me and this other guy would make fun of him because it would be like, "Are you gonna buy that game?" He's like, "Oh no,
I just watched him play it. So I know the whole story."
Yeah, yeah. Like you're just gonna watch him play it. He's like, yeah. And so we would not call him a gamer, because like me and my other friend would like go out and play and buy the game. And I'm like, but you haven't played it. He's like, yeah, but I watched it and I know the gameplay and the story. It's like, but you're not playing it. It's a game.
This is why I never left
Twitter.
Because this is a funny conversation that everybody's having right now with Resident Evil. Because people are like definitely afraid of playing the original games, and like even then they didn't even play like the remakes. Like people are exposing themselves of like, oh, I'm just
the tourists.
Yeah, I just watched Resident Evil 2. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I just watched Mortal Kombat. What's the latest one that came out? 1. I just watched the story of Mortal Kombat 1. But I'm never going to talk about the gameplay or anything like that. I'll talk about the story, but I haven't played the game. The game probably plays amazingly, but I haven't played it, so I'm not going to comment on it or even talk about it. Even talking about the story of Mortal Kombat 1. I won't even say that because I didn't experience it firsthand. I watched the IGN 4-hour-long video of the story. I'm not going to put my 2 cents in on that. And I think that's low-key the catalyst of the problem, is that a lot of people, like, my most favorite thing to do is to really enjoy something and then go to the subreddit of it and then see that everybody, like, it's like the Donald Glover meme when he walks in with the pizzas and everything's on fire, and he's like, oh, I thought we was liking, I was coming here to talk about how much I like this game, but I guess we hate this game. Let me stop. You realize there's problems that you didn't know existed. So that's gaming in a nutshell, unfortunately. And that's why Backlog is a better website, because people don't doomer post on there. They just
and that's like a new generation too, like of people that grew up just watching other people on YouTube play games, because a couple of reasons. Maybe they were too young to play the game, they couldn't afford the game, they just couldn't play the game, like they didn't have enough skill. And so it's become more acceptable in the younger generation for that kind of behavior, I think, to a certain degree. See, social media is interesting because we have this like all these generations clashing, where like as before social media, it sort of seemed like that was never the case, because like your grandparents weren't online with fucking your little niece who had watched the same movie. Now it's like all these generations with different expectations and different, like you see this like Gen Z millennial boomer war all the time now. You know, I feel like I see like, I fucking saw this fucking person ask this kid, he was maybe like, I don't know, 12, what's the worst video game? And you'll never believe what this little nigga said. Several of these little niggas.
He probably didn't say Drake and the 99 Dragons.
He was like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the worst video game.
What the fuck?
And I was like, 2 of these kids said this shit. And I'm like, is this AI? This is crazy.
It's gotta be some shit that they saw some other YouTuber that they be watching that says that they don't like Red Dead Redemption 2. So they was like, I don't like Red Dead Redemption 2. Just like niggas was saying, I don't like Sonic Adventure 2 because everybody was making their little videos saying Sonic Adventure 2 sucks. And it's like, shut up. Sonic Adventure 2 sucks.
Yeah. Same with Final Fantasy 13. It's getting crazy.
I would even go as far as to say Final Fantasy 15 and 16 got the same problem too, where like people are like, this game sucks, and it's like,
oh yeah,
not necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed 15. I'm not gonna say it's like my
15,
favorite Final Fantasy, but I enjoyed it. And I didn't finish. I keep thinking about 16. I have to go back. But it's a very difficult landscape now because we have, again, all these different expectations, all these different voices now. We have fucking kids that are 15 competing with men that are 30.
Yeah.
That are
I'm starting to dismiss niggas now at this point in my life, bro. I would read a comment and be like, oh yeah, you don't know no better. Or I'll be like, oh yeah, you definitely didn't play the game. Well, I'm just gonna ignore your comment.
Yeah, just be like, oh okay, yeah, you don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.